Good morning, folks. It is Saturday. It's the 27th of September, 2025. Yesterday I released a video, and it was kind of hard for me to release, because I know it goes against the advice of good friends out there that I have, in the world, but not completely to the point where relationships are destroyed now. It's not nothing like that. It's kind of like this. FGF21 come into the conversation with the sugar diet, but it's been around for a while. And I linked in yesterday's videos in comment sections, of a video that came out 2 years ago where it was talking about FGF21. Nutrition.org had put it out, and he said the safest way to go about it was beans and legumes. And thank God for that video, or I wouldn't have known how to proceed forward with doing it, because like I said, let me clear up some of the confusion out there, because it's hard. It's hard to put it all into words in just one video. So this is, I guess, kind of a part two going along with yesterday. So to start with, I didn't discuss my tooth pain with anyone. The reason I didn't is because it was right there at the end of the sugar diet, like big channels, big major channels were coming out against it, small channels were coming out against it. There was attacks going left and right, and it scared a lot of the community away, and rightfully so. But I'm gonna give that community a little hope in coming back, because here's the real deal right here. The first thing they say, and Cole Robinson's talked about this in the past, because I watch a lot of his older content and a lot of his newer content. Now, if you don't think that there's something to learn behind that old mastermind, then you are sadly mistaken, because if you don't like the advice you're hearing right now, then go back into some of the older videos. That's why they exist. That's why there's a catalog. And listen to some of the things he says from the past, right? That's what I did, I was searching for an answer because I started having this wisdom tooth pain toward the end of the sugar diet. It was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I was on the verge of conversing about it and what I could do. It was stressful to me. It was stressful to me, because I'm like, man, this wisdom tooth. Now, this wisdom tooth has hurt me for years, way before the sugar. It's not like nothing that came out of nowhere. People have wisdom tooth trouble to the point where, it gets so bad that, it's going to have to be pulled at some point. Well, it wasn't quite that bad. But I did have to get antibiotics, and I was taking the antibiotics. I started feeling better, and once the antibiotics were gone, because I was lightening up on my sugar intake. I was doing like the lower end sugars, like the blueberries and the strawberries and stuff that are lower end, that's kind of recommended, to like keto. The keto community does strawberries and blueberries. That's how low in sugar they are. You can get away with that type of thing on keto. So I was going through that, and I was using some zero sugar fruit juice to make my smoothies with. I was lightening that sugar load in a big way already. And I was like, man, how am I going to continue with all of this? And then like all of that going on at one time, like, you have this big channel, like Thomas DeLauer, like. And then you had all the carnivore doctors, they were all coming at us, like bam, like, and here I am caught in the middle of this, and all of my community is slowing down or leaving, and I'm like, what do I do? And then all eyes are on me to be the big leader and the hero of this movement, and I was I freaked out. I freaked out. A lone wolf like me? And then at the minute that was happening, because, you know, Baker had come out with that fat fasting video, right? You know, when all those came out together. And I didn't put it together at the time. I wasn't putting two and two together at the time. That came, well, fixing to tell you about it right now in a minute. He come out with that fat fasting video to induce FGF21, because that's an important message, because that just goes to show that you can't do it by eating ribeye steaks all day long or hamburgers. This is why carnivores struggle with weight issues. And also the reason they have to go on longer fast, like 72-hour fast, 48-hour fast, alternate day fast, all these different fasting routines, because fasting in itself is the biggest inducer of FGF21. You go on long fast and your body definitely goes and activates that stress hormone, which activates weight loss, which is probably a bigger deal for their weight loss than the actual ketones themselves. All this is coming out, but there's a community. There's already a community built. They got to slow this thing down. Like, how are we going to move forward? They want this thing to move forward and progress slowly. The reason why is because, you know, they got all this real estate at stake, you know, that all these, you know, sponsorships and stuff at stake, you know, so it makes sense. And so they come out with this, and I don't think they thought it through very well, because all of that, it's like the whole community came together, and like a screeching halt and a silence, and out of nowhere, here comes low fat. And I'm like, this is my escape, you know. I've got this wisdom tooth pain going on, and I was thinking, well, you know, if we could just preach the low fat, you know, the sugar diet is low fat. If I could take on low fat, and if I can make it work, which I did, you know, I lost 10 pounds that first month, but I had to restrict like crazy. You know, I had to do OMADs and 2MADs in order to get that 10 pounds off. So basically, you know, I was eating the way my channel started out, you know, with a 1 meal a day, a 2 meal a day. I've talked about low fat before I even got into the sugar diet. That's why I got into the sugar diet, because I had made a low fat pizza video a week or so before I done the sugar diet. I'm even in that comment section telling one of my subscribers, the one that bought me the grill, that I'm fixing to go on the sugar diet. This has been a roller coaster. A roller coaster of a ride. So I'm thinking, you know, well, this is my chance, you know, to just show everybody, you know. And I did. Because, let me make it very clear. The 1 meal a day and 2 meal a day weight loss that I did in that first month, and I did finally do a weigh-in. I did lose some inches and waist sizes. I lost the weight on that 1 and 2 meal a day because I was allowing FGF21 enough time to kick in. Because if you go to that nutrition.org video that I was linking, you know, to people in my comment section in yesterday's video, it would clearly tell you, you know, if you eat the daily recommended amount of protein, animal protein. I mean, you limit yourself to the daily recommended amount of protein. You don't have to eat protein every single meal, but the daily recommended amount. Now, I like getting mine through beans because I don't have to worry about it. But let's just say I did wind up in a situation where I just wanted to eat like one of those frozen turkey breasts, like a serving of meat. This is what Chris Fabulous talks about sometimes as well. Like, don't kick protein in the butt, you know, but you can have a bite of it here and there. So I listen to everybody. I'm kind of sort of high functioning, like my kids are autistic, but I think I'm kind of high functioning as well, because I get all this information coming in at one time and it just sticks in there. just stays in there. So yeah, FGF21 was being induced through moderate protein. So if you want to stay with protein, my suggestion is, and you don't have to go by anything I say, because I'm not a coach, not a weight loss coach. I'm just a guy on a journey sharing my experience. Moderate protein, the daily recommended amount for you. You Google that and find out your daily recommended amount. You stay with that, and you should be fine on FGF21. Or you could just do straight out fasting. See, now, that's one thing that Thomas DeLauer said when he done a video about how bad the sugar diet was, because they showed all these donuts and cakes, and we all know that wasn't what the sugar diet was about, and he done another one recently. But then, you remember, he promoted, long fasting would be better, or water fasting. At the time, I don't know if he really caught the fact. Well, he probably did. He's a very, very smart guy. I'm sure he caught it. But that basically, even though he was telling you not to do the sugar diet, he was telling you that go do longer fasts, which FGF21 would have kicked in with those longer fasts. The carnivore community, now that they have come out with that fat fasting fad that they started, has promoted FGF21 as well through that. When Baker done that sparked an interest in that community that FGF21 is kind of linked to all these diets now, right? So now they're trying to, slow that thing down. We got to slow this message down. This is dangerous to our pocketbook. I mean, but it's like it's found its way into every community out there now. This can't be undone. Whether you're using the sugar diet, and the fruitarians too. This is part of their diet. This is why they lose like they lose. I mean, you find the right protocol, and I guess that you can go back to calling everything a protocol now, because you got the fat fasting, which is that protocol. You got the sugar diet, which is that protocol, which basically is the fruit diet. Anything that you're cutting the fat out of is going. And a lot of people are saying, and this is something I will experiment with, because I got the rest of the year. I said I was going to lose down to 270 this year, and I've crushed that number. So I can do a little bit of experimentation throughout the rest of the year, and then pick things back up wide open into next year. But I'm sticking with the starch. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm gonna see how the starch and a little bit of fat acts together. Because you can fat fast and do FGF21. I mean, what about starch? Combined with something like some vegetables in a stir fry of olive oil or something. I don't know how any of those things work together. I don't think anybody really knows yet, but those things are what's going to be discovered. So, maybe I'll play around with a dish or two here or there and yonder and see how that works. I know back when on this channel when I was doing the O-Man 2, because I lost 80 pounds in 2022. You look back at my older videos from a few years ago, and I was a lot thinner than I am now, by the end of that year. I was eating stir fries at a Mexican restaurant with chicken fajitas, and I was staying away from the nachos that they bring out. And that was hard to stay away from those things, but I got used to it. And I was staying away from the tortillas, and I was just eating the chicken fajita stir fry. Has the tomatoes, the onions, the peppers, and all of that in it. And I was dropping weight on a 1 meal a day eating that type of food. And I know that's cooked in a lot of oil. So, but that takes a lot of will. For some reason, meat. When I introduce meat into my diet, that's when my gorging tendencies tend to kick in. I don't know what it is about it. But like yesterday, it was a birthday dinner for my son. You know, my son's birthday is today, but yesterday, there's the cake over there. Yesterday, my mother-in-law came and cooked chicken dumplings. So I did like I did in the sugar diet days. I had me a cheat day. One thing I loved about it, I could have those cheat days. Bounce back on. Weight loss might have gained a pound or 2 or 5, but it went back down relatively quickly, and bam, I was able to keep going. I had that weight loss weapon. The weight loss weapon the whole time was FGF21. That's what it is now. There's plenty of ways to induce it if I wanted to, go on a straight all the way fast to do it, which I don't plan to. I like eating. If I can eat me a rice and bean hamburger with some sriracha sauce on there and still be able to continue my weight loss, that's the route I'm going. If I can make me some kind of vegetable medley type of burger and eat that, yeah, that's the route I'm going. Why starve when you can have something delicious? Them pumpkin burgers, I could eat something like that. Delicious. Some people try to make it weird. How's it a burger if it ain't got no meat in it? It just is. Just stop already. It's time to quit being silly. Quit being silly. Grow up. It's just food. God. It's just food. I can kind of see why aggravation does occur within Cole sometimes. But yeah, I mean, the conversation is out there. They've all, every community is kind of linked to FGF21 now. Now it's time for everybody who wants to lose some weight to figure it out for themselves, which method works best for them. And it's time for these communities. It's a way for these communities to kind of come together at the same time and have a common, for once in a very long time, have some kind of common ground. Because most people are here to lose weight. Influencers, they're here to do what they do. I'm here to lose weight. I think I've got everything I need to proceed forward with my weight loss. I don't really, and I've got several. When I started out on this, I said I was paying attention to Cole Robinson and Mark Bell. So there's been a time or two that Mark Bell has come through for me as well. And one of those times I donated him a super chat, and I asked him about, because he was talking about, feeling the coolness. And I asked him, could that possibly be, brown adipose tissue being burnt? That's brown adipose tissue fat being burnt, kind of the way a cold plunge works. I asked him that in a super chat, and he followed up on that with one of his experts and stuff. And there's been some people, kind of talk about that since I brought that up, brought that up because I was feeling the same thing he was, that cooling effect. And that's such a calm, beautiful feeling to where it's almost spiritual. I think when you're feeling that, that's the FGF21. You feel great. I kind of explain it to you adults. Like, you remember as a child, and you go outside and you could feel the coolness in the air even on a humid, hot day. So I was lucky to be able to experience FGF21 in the summertime, because when I would go outside, and it'd be like 98 degrees out there, I'm like, it's hot. But I could still feel that little slight hint of coolness in the air, and I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, I haven't felt this since I was young. Like when you're a child, you can just kind of feel that peaceful coolness in the air. It's like, once you get that feeling, you will never forget it. It is relaxing. It's almost spiritual. It feels great. I think I think when you're feeling that, that is definitely when the FGF21 is working. Because on the days I have the protein, there's something about the animal protein that knocks you out of it. There's a specific high level of something that I can't figure out. Somebody help me out in the comment section, and I will pin it. And I will pin it to the top. But there's something in animal protein that causes FGF21 to go away for a while. until it comes back. And I think once it's gone for me, that is when the hunger cues. When I have the animal protein, that's when the hunger cues are their strongest. That is why when I was doing OMAD and 2MAD, I would eat, and it felt like, several hours later that I was just starving to death, because I wasn't in that FGF21. But then I'd go to sleep. And I'd wake up the next day, and I guess it would be kicked in by then. Enough hours had passed by, and I'd feel great. I'd feel great, like I can go all day until like dinner time, like Colby talking about, and then eat later in the evening. I like to eat around 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon, no later than that. I like to give my body some time to start to get toward the digestion process before I go to sleep on that food. That's just me. That's how I do it. That's just me, and that's how I'm going to continue to do things, My grandpa, World War II vet, said, don't eat. Don't eat past, don't eat late into the evening. Don't be snacking at night. He was right about a lot of that stuff. He was right. That older generation was right about a lot of things. They limited you to breakfast, lunch, and supper. They knew overdoing it was a bad thing. They knew. That greatest and silent generation, I was lucky enough to have lived through, being raised by some of the best ones out there. But yet that FGF21, once you get a feeling that, you're gonna want it, and that's what made, because I had felt it, that's what made me. It's what led me to where I am now with all of you now with this starch solution. I have a list of foods that I know work, that I have wrote down, that I will share in upcoming videos. I've shared some with you, like oatmeal, corn. A lot of the things Cole talks about. Like, if you listen to him, God, I don't want to say it because he'll probably kill me if I say it. If you listen to his choices, and we'll just say, if you listen to his food choices and just go with the daily recommended amount of animal protein, Chris Fabulous has touched on this. I mean, some of the other coaches have kind of touched on that because they kind of know. I mean, if you've been in the game long enough, you know. If you just go with the daily recommended amount of animal protein, you can kind of, be okay in this space. My problem with that is, I'm good on Southern boy animal protein, man. I'm eating, give me a bowl of chili, I gotta have seconds. Good thing about that bowl of chili is I can do that and increase FGF21 through this stuff right here. Look up the great effects that soy has on FGF21. There's some kind of specialness that is only found in TVP and soy product that increase that FGF21 like nobody's business. Boom. But for me, this is a sandwich. This is a sloppy Joe for me. And this works. I mean, sloppy Joe, big fat, 0 total fat. For me, this type of stuff don't bother my tooth. It's something about the fruit and the hard hitting sugars. That's what gives my wisdom tooth a fit. Beans, legumes, whole grains, seemed to have healed it to where I can even touch it with my tongue now. I couldn't even touch it before. Like, the round of antibiotics only lasted 10 days, folks. So then I tried to, of course, the sugar diet was still going on. I tried to reintroduce the fruit, and every time I did, I started to feel that slight pain and tension in that tooth start to swell. So I'd have to go back off of it. Then I'd try, to eat some more grapes. Grapes was my thing. Grapes was my biggest thing. I can't even have them because of that, But Brussels sprouts. I can have Brussels sprouts. Anything that increases butyric acid. I heard Zach talking about that yesterday on his walk video. Butyric acid is the main driver for FGF21 as far as whole grains and legumes go. You eat beans, you eat rice, you eat TVP. Those things start fermenting your gut, feeding your good gut bacteria, turns into butyric acid, which increases FGF21, and you feel the cooling effect. And it's beautiful. I will not give it up. I will not give it up. I will not give it up as long as I can induce it. I will not give it up. Those days are over. It's too late. I am an advocate and a believer in it. Thank you, Cole, for leading me in this direction. Thank you, Mark Bell. Thank you, Chris Fabulous. There's another coach I'm listening to out there, Oak City Strong. He's a smaller channel. I like the guy. I've reached out to him recently, and I've tried to, let him know that, and he's out of North Carolina, so, I got to take care of him. We're neighbors, I'm South Carolina, he's North Carolina. But he's been doing the sugar diet, and he's been training people with it, and I'm kind of letting him know that there's other ways than just solely through the sugar. He doesn't have to open up a can of Coke anymore. There's other methods that he can use. Fasting is the biggest one, but if you don't want to fast, it depends on how fast you want to go. You want to go fast and the most extreme, then Cole will take you there through the fasting that he's preaching. He will take you there. If you want to do it on cruise control, that's kind of the level I'm at. Cruise control, which is still plenty of weight loss as you go along, like I proved in the last month. I will do another record of weigh-ins, not starting today because I just come through that birthday party, so I know it's not going to, if I got on that scale for you today, it wouldn't be good. So I will just do that, throughout the month and kind of share my experience toward the end of the month or the first of next month or however you want to do it. But I will definitely talk about and share my experiences as we go along, I'm excited about it right now. I probably won't be able to contain myself. I'll probably wind up slipping up and just showing you out of pure excitement, how things are going. I'm to the point now where I can't contain myself, But right now, I'm in a recovery phase, because I had a day. And that's why I like the diet, so I can take a darn day. I don't want to be stuck on the steak-only diet all the time. I don't want to be stuck on the, I don't even want to be stuck on the low-fat diet all the time. Every now and then, I want to have a piece of birthday cake that's got some egg yolk in it. Every now and then, I want to have some fried chicken livers. I just need to find a lifestyle that I can live most of the time. Like Chris Fabulous preaches, that's why he preaches, we got some good community out there. And if you're able to put it all together, then you can learn something from all of them. I'm lucky to have that ability. I'm lucky to be cursed with the high functioning ADHD that I was diagnosed with, because all of that information pours in at me and it takes a minute for it to spill out. So all of this hitting at the same time was taking some time to process, but here we are. And yeah, all of these communities they've all talked about the FGF21, so here we all are with common ground. Tell me what you think. down in the comments. Oh, another thing too, my weight gain wasn't due to staying away from the scale so much as it was, and I'm not. I will never say stay away from the scale. That's not going to be me moving forward. But I just want to make it very clear that staying away from the scale wasn't my driver of weight gain. My main driver was every time I'd eat protein, because I hadn't had things quite figured out yet, what I was going to do, how I was going to move forward to find my FGF21 solution. And that came through Dr. McDougall in a big way, listening to some of his stuff and listening to, advice from nutrition.org, that guy, about butyric acid and how it affects FGF21, and also he said that, beans and legumes, he said legumes and whole grains were going to be your safest way to go about inducing it. So that is, I want to hear that. Safest way? Yeah. Safest way. And not to mention the fact that muscle benefits. And I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not looking to get that jacked. I just want to be just kind of okay jacked, just good enough. just good enough, I'd like to see a little bit of abs someday. Don't have to be fancy, just a little bit. I want to get there. This is the way forward for me for now. Another person I like to watch is that vegetable plate. He likes to try out different things too. These people that try out different things, those are the ones. Those are the ways to go. You can learn a lot from their experiences on different protocols they've all tried out. FGF21, the hormone that brings everybody together, whether you're sucking on a butter popsicle, eating a bag of grapes, eating some delicious baked potato with some fat-free ranch dressing, some pasta with just some spaghetti marinara on there. Whether you were eating a 6-inch turkey sub sandwich for lunch and following that up with a foot-long veggie in the evening, you are well under your daily recommended amount of protein. FGF21 can continue. If you're just eating one turkey burger early in the day or around lunchtime and allowing yourself to just go with the whole grains, the legumes, the sugars, when I say the sugars, I mean the natural ones like the fruits. I'm done with all that candy stuff, except for maybe, these candy corns are zero fat, and it's not a staple in my diet, but just to show you my tooth is healed, it is the season. It's not going to be around long. I'm good with a few candy corns. Boy. Now, I'm not recommending that as a diet staple. I know I've done crazy experiments like soda fasting and stuff like that in the past. I'm done with those days. That's behind me. I want to eat the more healthy, nutritionally dense foods like the Brussels sprouts, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the button mushrooms are very good for men's health. Some lean turkey every now and then. Chicken every now and then. I'm learning I don't have to have it every day in every meal. That's what I've learned through the low fat thing, because that is what leads me into gorging. That's what makes me want to eat and overeat. Something about once that hormone, that mechanism is gone, from it. That's what triggers my overeating. I've just got it figured out. I've just got it figured out. I will have to experiment more with, or be more disciplined. I got to find a way to be more disciplined to incorporate the lean meat in such a way where I'm only getting the daily recommended amount when I do decide to eat it. And then I think, I can push forward on that message. But for now, I'm limiting that to every 3, 4, 5 days. I went a whole week doing this. Now, that's another thing before I leave. This is going to be long. I'm sorry, but I know that you want to hear this. You want to hear my experience, and I'm sharing it. When I was on the sugar diet, you all know, and it's very well documented in my video catalog, that every 3 or 4 days I felt like I was having a protein attack, and I gotta go eat some protein, and I would. I'd go eat some chicken or some nasty fried chicken livers and stuff. But with the beans, I ain't felt that because I'm getting some protein from the rice and beans. I'm getting that. I feel like I can just go with that every day and be fine. I could have went through my son's birthday yesterday. Celebration yesterday was a choice. It didn't feel like, oh, I can't wait to get to that birthday so I can eat me some chicken and dumplings. I can't wait. I'm dying for some animal. I didn't feel like that this time. I didn't feel like that this time. Yesterday, everything about eating yesterday and sharing that family experience was a choice. It was during those days too, but it felt more like, oh, I can't wait to get there compared to now. I felt like, I could just eat my bean burgers and be fine. I'm good. I'm good. And honestly, I kind of felt tired after that, and didn't really feel like getting my steps in, but I did get 13,000 in yesterday. Today I'm way ahead. But yeah, talk about those days in a row, man. I can nail those days in a row with that protein from the beans. The thing about that protein, and people are struggling with it a little bit. So let me break it down before I leave here. The beans, the whole grains, the legumes, the whole grains, all of that stuff turns into butyric acid in your stomach, and it's the butyric acid that increases the FGF21. It's a different mechanism to its function, compared to the straight sugar going into the liver. It's got to be broken down and processed, kind of the way meat's broken down and processed into it. It's a different process. The way fat's kind of broken down and processed. But whatever it is, that butyric acid is a good driver for it, and thank God for it right now, because it's going to help me continue down this path forward. Now, tell me what you think down in the comments. If I missed anything, let me know. I'll talk about it next time. And until then, you folks have a good one.